How long does it take to prepare a will, and what is the process, and what are the extra documents that may be needed for your will? Hi, everyone. If we haven't met yet, I'm Troy Sage, local realtor, and I'm dedicated to doing real estate differently. And I've been helping people just like you for over 15 years with all of their real estate needs. In this video, I'm interviewing the highly accredited and Wall Street Journal featured attorney, Kristi Arlitt of the North Dallas, Texas area. We're going to be talking about how long it takes to prepare a will and the process you'll need to go through, including paperwork to get your will put in place. Let's dive in. How long would it take to put something like this together? A couple weeks?
I would say a couple weeks. I have to get from them, and I always ask them for the exact names that you use. I ask for their addresses and phone numbers because we use those inside these various documents really for identification purposes so that we know that we're talking to the correct Jane Doe or John Doe. It doesn't mean that they have to be living there at the time of death, but it's for identification to know that we're talking to the right person. So as soon as they get that information to me, and as soon as they can decide what they want,
right,
which can be interesting, that sometimes takes a couple visits, then usually within a couple weeks, you can have all your documents done.
And then have the documents done, give them back to you, and have you go file them, or you can go file them yourself at the courthouse. Yeah, the will. Right, the will itself, and go file it and be done.
And it's done.
And sleep and forget about it.
And forget about it.
Now, how do you change the will? You have to write a new will?
You have to write a new will.
Okay.
And a lot of people think, I can take the old will and I'll just write in the margin and initial it or something. Anything that's written on the sheet of paper, they just throw it out. The court will just ignore it. You can't change the document.
So realistically, bottom line is somebody needs to have a will, or they need to have a trust set up or an estate set up, or they might need a living trust. We didn't even talk about a living trust, right? Really, I mean, you probably did, but we didn't title it.
No.
What else do you want to share while we have a few more minutes?
While I do a packet, and it includes the will, which is not operative until you die. But while you're still alive, you can have a medical power of attorney. And the medical power of attorney is, I name in order 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 2, 3, 4 people, and I will tell you how this works. Excuse me. You have this medical power of attorney. You list people who will make medical decisions for you if you cannot make them. In other words, you're in the operating room and they need to give you a blood transfusion. They come out or they get on the phone and actually they go down the list and the first person they can find. They don't necessarily go, I'm waiting.
Not necessarily
I'm not waiting for a return phone call from number one.
Right.
You know, they'll just start going, and I'm talking about the physicians or somebody, if it's an emergency, they're just going to get the first person they find and say, hey, is it okay if I give them a blood transfusion? So that operates while you're still alive when you're unable to make your own medical decisions. If you're able to make them, you still make your own medical decisions. Then I always do statutory durable power of attorney. This is what I call the money power of attorney. And this one is actually operative while you're alive, but also it doesn't necessarily have to be only when you're unable to make your own decisions. But one of the reasons that we need that is sometimes, and the durable power of attorney sort of has an on-off switch. It can be fixed to where, let's say you have a medical problem and you're unable to take care of things, but you didn't die, and you're going to get over it, and you're going to come back. Well, in the meantime, while you're incapacitated, the person that you've listed, and normally we list 1, 2, 3, 4, however many you want, they're taking care of all your business affairs. They maybe get the newspaper turned off to your house. They make sure the water bill gets paid. They make sure the electrical bill gets paid. They make sure your mortgage gets paid, and they have the power to do that, to keep things going. If you become incapacitated to the point to where you're not going to return, then they figure out how to take care of everything long term. And then we also do a guardianship designation, which is sometimes can be very interesting. There are actually 2 guardianships. One is guardianship of the person, and one is guardianship of the money. And the guardianship of the person, you can name who you want to make the decisions. Are you going to stay at home? Are you going to be put into a facility to be taken care of. How many times are you going to get your hair washed every month or every week? How many times are you going to be allowed to have...
This can be super detailed.
Oh, this person can decide what happens to your body. It's guardian of the person, of the actual body. The other one is guardian of the money. And you can name who you want to have be guardian of the money, of your financial affairs. Sometimes you want the same person, sometimes you don't. And believe me, mom may want two people different than the two people that dad want. And if you're coming from a mixed marriage, the one may want their children from their first marriage to be taking care of everything, or the other spouse may want their children to be taking care of everything. That's what I was saying. Once they decide what it's going to be, I can get those documents drafted pretty quickly. But a lot of times they go home and they have some pretty deep discussions about, listen, why do I want your son or daughter from your first marriage to be handling me and my affairs?
Right.
I mean, and this can get a little testy on occasion.
Yeah.
I can give them a do not resuscitate. It's an offering whether or not they want to be resuscitated. I definitely give them a notice to physicians of when they want to be, quote, unplugged and turned off from life-sustaining support. And they can make the decision that they want to have it when it's finally determined that they either have an illness or a mental issue that they're not going to come back from, or do they want to be held indefinitely on equipment. I will tell you, I've never had one side choose keep me hooked up indefinitely. I've never had one person choose that. Most people are like, hey, and once it's determined, 3 physicians determine that I'm not going to come back from this, go ahead and unplug me. And remember, at this point, you're not able to make that decision, because if you could make the decision, you would be making it. You are in a state of a situation to where you can no longer make that decision.
And you want to make sure that whoever you're putting in charge of these documents is your friend, right? It's someone that likes you.
Hopefully you have someone that you truly, truly trust.
Yeah.
And that's hard, because a lot of people don't.
Wow, I have learned that it is really important to have a will put in place so the state doesn't decide to do whatever they want with my assets after I pass. This is the last video of an entire series I did with Kristi Arlitt. To see links to the other videos, either watch till the end or check out below in the description. If you'd like to speak with Kristi or you have questions or comments, leave the comments here below or reach out to me direct and I'll be happy to connect you to Kristi. If you found the information helpful in this video, click subscribe and the bell so you're alerted every time I upload another video. Until next time, my friends, make it a great day.